to be here right now. And even though Ezekiel stole that, let's stretch for a minute because it just helps me to stretch and relax for a moment. We're going to talk about some cool stuff about the summer solstice, and we're going to talk a little bit about fatherhood and Father's Day, and it's an honor for me to be here with you. Let's go to our first slide, or the next slide. And what we have here is we have a view of, let me look at this, is the New Grange Mound in Ireland. And this is the peak of the sun. So right now we stand at the peak of the solar calendar where the sun is the highest, the day is the longest, and it's the intensity of the sun. And I think it's interesting, the sun represents fatherhood, and the Father's Day is close to the summer solstice. I don't think that's a coincidence. Maybe it's something I just never noticed but myself. And this is in the Boyne Valley in Ireland, and this is at the summer solstice. And if you can imagine, that's where see the little round mound, and just on one side of that we see one entrance for the winter solstice, and the sun's shining directly in for the summer solstice. Let's go to the next slide. There we go. So there's a 90-degree angle between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn, the Tropic of Capricorn being the winter time. And let's go to our next slide. Okay, so there's the light when it comes in the winter and in the summer. So we brought this up as an example, and I would like to thank Devin for helping me put these slides together, Devin Malone. And this is roughly 5,200 years old. The shadow cast makes a nearly perfect 90-degree angle to the entrance, and this predates both Stonehenge and the Pyramid of Egypt. So it's something to think about when the summer and winter solstices come, is that we as a species have been celebrating and marking this day for eons and eons. And it helps us in our relationship with the earth, with the stars and the planets that go around us, to notice that, to see it, and to feel a connection to the generations that came before us. And this shows the pathway of illuminated light through the winter solstice on the right, and the mound on the outside at the summer solstice. And the summer solstice is called the analema, which means the path of the sun. Shown is the analema next to a Greek temple in our next slide. So this was a photo was taken every day at noon. And this is the pattern the sun makes. And if you notice, that's an infinity pattern. And so at the top is where it stands still. So the word sol means sun, and the cyst in it, the sol cyst, means it stands still for 3 days at the top before it comes back around and starts journeying south. And it seems like just a moment ago I was up here talking about the winter solstice. And it was cold and it was dark, and I'm so glad to be here now where it's bright and sunny. And in the middle we have the equinox, where we have equal sun, night and day. But right now we're at the time to make hay. This is the summertime. It's the beginning of summer today. So let us be joyful and acknowledge that. I feel as though I lived 3/4 of my life in the 3 months of summer, and then I just want to hibernate for the rest of the time. In the summertime, I wake up and I get up out of bed. In the wintertime, I feel like I'm dragging myself out of bed. So let's take a moment. Goodness sakes, we're here on the solstice. We're here together for Father's Day. It was so beautiful when we ohmed earlier and we did our tones. I always notice when we all tone together, I feel everyone in the room. I feel my heart opening, especially when I'm giving a talk and we tone. All of a sudden, I feel like I belong again, that we're a community together. This is life happening right now, and it matters, and it's significant. The analema represents the eternal dance of time and the waxing and waning of light, as well as the changing of the seasons. The twist in the center is the equinox point, the top being the summer solstice and the bottom being the winter solstice. Let's go to our next slide. The magic of fatherhood. and goodness sakes, it is my desire to reclaim fatherhood with an open heart. It is my desire to reclaim fatherhood as though it's something precious and something valuable. We have here the magician, which is a symbol of divine masculinity, which exists in all of us. And at the right, we have the symbol of the sun in Leo. And in the tarot, Leo represents, and in the zodiac, it represents fatherhood. And we're talking about a noble fatherhood. We're talking about something to value. Let's go to our next slide. So we have the father grilling, because that's what fathers do. Nicely done, Devin. And that's what we're going to do today.
So it is.
And so it is. And do we have another slide? Okay, so I'm going to talk about fatherhood. And I realize that we see the model of patriarchy as being the model of profit, power, and property. As though the model of patriarchy is the reason why forests turn into board feet of timber and why countries and peoples are subjugated and why there's tribal factions and hoarding and domination. And that's all true. I mean, there is profit, power, and property, and we attribute it to the patriarchy. And I also would like to recognize that many of us had relationships with our fathers that are wounds we carry with us in our souls. And I want to say that out loud. And I do believe that, goodness sakes, if you look at us as humanity, the family unit in a functional, noble, sovereign way has been systematically dismantled since the Industrial Revolution and even before. And I know that that my dad was a very hard man. And he was one of those men who was raised in that structure where to apologize, to talk about one's feelings, to admit one's, mistakes was sacrilegious. And I also want to recognize that fatherhood is bigger than the type of body we were born into. And I know that when I went to my father as an adult and I wanted to talk about the ways in which I was harmed as a child, he couldn't even go there. And all he could say to me was, "You didn't have it nearly as bad as I did." Okay? And I knew that was true. My father didn't have it nearly as bad as I did. And I know that in my own fatherhood, that even though I was there, and even though I cared, and even though I worked my butt off to provide, I also made a lot of mistakes. I also was hard on my sons like my father was hard on me. There are many dysfunctional patterns in life that I unconsciously passed down to my children. And in my fatherhood, I have reached out to my sons, knowing what I know now. And believe me, I am so grateful to be in this generation now and have learned the things I've learned now, and I've learned the value of talking about my feelings, and I've learned the value of admitting my mistakes and owning them. And I've learned the value of listening. And I've been able to set time away with my sons to give them a chance to talk to me, and to listen to them. And I just had lunch with my sons yesterday, and we're having lunch, and they start bringing up things that hurt me to hear. Times when their mom and I were going through a divorce, times when I was caught up in work, times when I was grumpy or angry. And I will tell you now, it is a beautiful victory as a father to have that space open where they feel safe to talk to me and I can honor everything that they have to say and honor their perspective. And my only response is, you deserved better. You deserved better. If I could go back in time, I would do it differently. I love you so much. I'm so proud of you. You're precious to me. And I feel hurt that it was like that. And I can let them speak and honor them. You know, the sun, if we were to take the sun as though it represents fatherhood, the sun shines upon everyone. The sun shining, nurturing the whole solar system and beyond to places we can't even conceive of. The call to action that I would like to give today is that there is a Father within all of us. So, as fathers, may we nurture that. One of my favorite things to do, to say to people, is I'm so proud of you. I'll say that to the clerk in the grocery store. I'll say that to the guy running the carts in. Thank you for what you're doing. I'm so proud of you. We could focus on the wounds we have, and we could focus on the failures of our fathers, and that's great, because we'll have more wounds and more failures, and there's always more suffering. If we want that. But the call to action is not only as fathers to nurture, but how can we nurture our fathers? So many of us have traumas and brokenness. The call to action is healing and nurturing. Listening is one of the most beautiful ways to nurture anyone. To just listen. It's like a ninja Jedi superpower that we can exercise. It's easy to talk, but listening means we're taking the place of being the nurturer. We're creating a stage for someone to express themselves. To have someone to tell me more is like a secret key to get past someone's facade and to find the truth. 80% of what people complain about has nothing to do with what they're complaining about. They have some unmet need that existed before now. And if they're offered the honor and the dignity of listening, and think about that as a beautiful demonstration of fatherhood, giving someone the honor and the dignity of listening to them. We're all a group of people, and we all have our past, and we have our religious traumas, and we have our traumas from our family. The onus on us, especially as members of Unity, is we heal from the inside out. This happens from the inside out. As we heal on the inside, the lens we look through to see the world and to see each other changes. The world literally changes around us. Our self-esteem, our sense of purpose no longer depends on outside things that we have no control over. Our self-esteem, our purpose is within us now. We find that it is our birthright. We belong to be here. This life is beckoning us forth. We are precious jewels of a beautiful cosmos that loves us. When we look up at that sun today, feel that. Feel that love. That love was with us before we took our first inhalation upon our birth, and that love will be with us after we take our last exhalation on this earth. It's a privilege and it's an honor to be here. So let us, the imploring, the behooving of this talk is to heal the Father within us. To know that we have male and female within us now. And let us try to look at that idea of fatherhood as an opportunity to present in this world in a kind, nurturing way. One of the things that I learned so much when I became a single dad with 2 kids in diapers and trying so hard is that I have a mother within me. You know, for me to say that out loud, you know, if my dad could hear me say that out loud, he would have some concerns. And I'm at a point where I can see that, I can accept that. But I know that I learned that there's a mother within me. And something I've also learned is there's a father in me that only wants to love. I mean, goodness sakes, I only want to love. And the father is bigger than what's in our family. The call to fathers is, let us be fathers for more than our family. Let us be fathers for more than our race. Let us be fathers for more than our religion or our country. We are human beings first. We are a species. The revolution is going to be, we wake up as a species and realize that there's something more important than profit, power, and property. That is the revelation. The revelation is we're more than profit, power, and property. When we wake up as a species, the idea of healing the earth, the idea of living within the patterns of the earth, the idea of providing for our children, providing education, we have more than enough in our systems to provide healthcare, education, food, water, and shelter for every man, woman, and child on earth. So may our fatherhood spread beyond just this. And may we awaken to that, because we're worthy of nothing less than that. And I wish you all a happy Father's Day. Please come to the barbecue and play some yard games with us. And I love you very much.